in it, so it's not out of style, out of date, my style, so to say. It's still very much in the style that I paint in these days. And it's been one of those, let me see if I turn this light off. Can you get it, Bear? Yeah, a little bit, still not great. The problem with this painting, one way to describe, oh, it looks like we might have streaming issues again. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, it's my internet. And it's bad again, isn't it? To talk as though I'm broadcasting, even though my indicator indicates that I'm not. So I assessed that the weakness in this painting, it's charming up where it's supposed to be charming, and at the time that I did it, I felt like it was a good idea to have the drawing with brushes. One of the downsides of my painting technique, which is layers, my painting technique essentially is layers and layers and layers of paint and color in stages. It is difficult to add something late in the process because you can't just, whereas if I was painting it in the more traditional manner, which entailed essentially painting in opaque colors, it would be easy to add something because I just paint it over last minute, because it'll look object, which in this case is going to be two figures, getting them painted that I want. And the boy on the bike, mom pushing a stroller, and boy on bike. Now let me back up and see if that's really where I want those figures. You know what? It's not. Changing my mind. It would be better if I move him. Is that even though I don't want them to be visual leading, they are leading us into the scene. 8 or 9-year-old kid rides nowadays. What do they call it? Half-breed. I want to be a pretend mountain bike. All right. Pretend. You going okay? Hello, Jody. There's not much I can do on this. The pose that I'm after here is what's taking you so long, kind of, typical 9-year-old kid going for a walk ride with his mom. I'm kidding, there will be no back is almost perfect shorts, fairly long shorts, calf, this foot, heel off the ground. She's walking, right? And believe it or not, you can't see it right now. I'm exercising all of my best anatomy practice, all the stuff I've learned over decades of not being a full-time figurative painter, but frequently detail the baby's hand. And those of you who know my stuff know that my pencil sketches, pencil lines underneath his subject matter. Let me stand back again and see. Doggone it. I do not. Well, you guys are getting it. You get to see it. They're wax based, so Gansol takes them off without much trouble at all. Well, and there you see, that's the beauty of working on an old, or that is to say, completely dry painting, right? Now, I glazed, I don't know if you saw me or not, but I did a quick glaze on this painting before I started. It's mostly just pure oxide red with liquid, of course, Oxide red is, when applied very thinly, is a lovely orange, almost a perfect orange, a really burnt orange, as far as color. And further away. So instead of her feet coming down, where is her head going to? Now, let's assuming that I'm an average height. That means her head will be the horizon line be in this painting. It'll be right. Their eyes, their head will go a little bit above this, and their chin a little bit more than that below it, right? But I'm painting a woman, and not trying to make any particular point about the woman. I just want her average, so to speak. So we'll make her like, 5'6", 5'6.5". So that might. So her head. The point is, how close she is to the viewer is determined not by the position of her head. The head, if she's a mile away or 10 inches, what determines how close she is where we put her feet. Lessons in perspective. Okay, let's see if I can make her bend with each other. I can't believe this. You guys, if you ever finished painting, and some students, early journey painters, are nervous about that, but you shouldn't be anymore after watching this video. Right? This should alleviate all nervousness. Now you see just absolutely how foolproof it is. And what I'm again applying, just wiped that woman off. And all right, now let's try that again. I know where her head was like. I actually moved her more like an inch, I think, in front of her, looking back. Actually, the way he is now, it's more accurate in the details. Okay, and one of the things I want to do with this modifying of this painting, and it's a pretty good painting, it just doesn't have quite enough. They will indeed be the psychological focal point of the painting. All right, stand back. You can bring her down just a little bit more. So how far her feet come down, that's what determines how far she is from us, the viewer, right? Not her head. All right, and then the carriage. All right, now let's try drawing that again. This shift and never will. Okay, once again, shoes, probably no socks. This arm barely, yeah, there we go, barely barely visible. A lot of people have now. This is her vacation baby carriage, okay? If I'm broadcasting, but I've practiced and continue to practice years and years and years. Figure painting. You got a couple small brushes. I can't do much here because this addition to the painting presents a real unusual problem, right? Because it has to look as though it was done at the same time as all the rest of the painting. With the rest, but I think I can mixed up a dark or dirty flesh color, if you will. Top of this boy's head. I'll work out fairly carefully. Where's my, position? The bike. All right, that's good enough. And now I can do a little bit of, take a paper towel. Again, by the time I finish these two figures, I should render them in at least 4 layers, probably 5. Point being, so that they appear that they were done in the same seed. Much further than this, effect will be 1 layer. So I have to wait for another layer tomorrow, dark, fuzz light. That's 3 layers. And then possible dark fuzz light under that. Right, I think I like that. I like the colors. Now so both the mother and son, at this point I'm thinking, but I won't even try to remember. The life is not worth remembering. Sorry. That's not really sexist. That's just lazy. That's what that is. Basically, a dark should be is red, and I feel like you are seeing a little bit of what I'm hoping to accomplish in the finished product, which is they will still be mostly in shadow, little dappled sunlight coming through and striking them here and there. But like if they were the star of the show, there'd be a lot of light hitting and bouncing off them, and that is not what I want. So I want more what you're seeing right now, which is all right. So a little bit of it. All right, and one last thing I can do is come mother and son paint some of the backgrounds. So in the road, that would mean a light brown. In other words, I'm trying to be hitting the figures, and there'll be a little bit of the human eye is inexorably drawn to punctiliar light and parts of the bicycle, spokes and pedals and chain and all that stuff. On this painting, a couple days from now, will probably be fuzz layer, where I will try to create some glow that's happening on or around these figures. I have this broad shadow going right across the road here, and it's off to our right. Keep these figures from stealing the show too much. Now, I've changed the psychological impact of this painting completely. If someone were to say in one sentence, what is this a painting of? The answer is it's a painting of a woman and boy, presumably mother and son, riding down a road. That's the description. Scene. I just realized too, I can do, I don't want her hair to be that dark when I come back to this tomorrow. So I'm about as bad with women's hair as I am with women's clothing. I am not a fashion illustrator, that is for sure. I just don't pay attention to clothing. It's the craziest thing. I can copy it if I see her hair being pulled up. Lazy hair. Long hair pulled up to get it off her neck because it's a summer day. And of it, to me, is much better already. All right, I'm excited about that one. And it's kind of fun. All right. Next, I have one of the next three. I'll show them. I'll let you help me think, help me decide. Here's an interior scene. Now this is, most of us painters, most of us don't do many interior scenes, right? I mean, we might do not many of us do that, myself included. I've done castle in and Erie. Sorry, got my castles mixed up for a second there. This is also a very old painting, 12 or 13, I would guess. I also, the library is real, and of course the fireplace and all this stuff is real. Just to give you a sense of scale, the fireplace is so big you could walk, a 6-foot tall man could walk right into the fireplace if you wanted. I'm trying to check, wait, does that mean, I think a 6-foot man will come up to about there. So it's a huge fireplace. At the time they built in 19th century castles. 19th century castles that were modeled after 13th century castles. All right, well, that's one. And what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do this, and this comes from a completely different era. In fact, the next two paintings, or two of the next paintings, and I was in process evolution. It led to what I do today, but it was a very, very different. And there's aspects of it I still very much enjoy. Like, for instance, the carving on the side of the fireplace here is rendered in the reverse, the dark lines. Does that make sense? The same thing is true. I did that kind of thing a lot. I played in these days very much more, even more than I do now. There was no fuzz layer, so everything was transparent, very much more transparent, and kind of fun. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do this is, though, I don't paint trees that way anymore. What draws me to this painting, and I know my stream is bad, I'm so bad. I'm so bad.